Most investment banking resumes get rejected in the first 6 seconds, not because the candidate is bad, but because resume doesn't speak the language investment bankers expect. In this two-part video series of resume building, we are going to understand what sections does your resume need to cover. In this first part, we are going to understand how investment banker actually read your resume, what are the things that you should cover under your education, work experience, projects and achievements. Alongside going through each of the section, we are going to use a resume template which you can easily download for yourself and build your resume as well.
Hey there, my name is Karan Damania. I'm an ex-investment banker turned founder, and through Encoding Careers, we help you build successful career in finance.
So let's get onto the screen and start understanding initial sections of your resume. Alright, so we are discussing how to build a resume for investment banking, where we are going to do a step-by-step breakdown of every section that we need to cover into our resume, and that too using a real example. For this real example, we are going to use this entire template. Now this template is something that we have discussed with a lot of investment bankers out there in the industry. We also discussed this on the global level. This is a template that most of the bulge bracket banks are also using to filter out a perfect candidate for themselves. And the entire sections that we have covered are vetted by investment bankers. The bullet pointer structure that we have used, the alignment formatting, everything is something that will make sure that you get started into investment banking. Alongside this template, we are also going to look at some of the sections that I covered into my personal resume when I was applying for investment banking roles, where there are some sections where this resume does not fit exact. So for that, you can use some of the reference from my own personal resume. Now, as discussed in the introduction, this is part 1 of 2-part video series of resume building, and here we are going to cover 4 detailed sections of the resume, which is education, work experience, projects and certificates, and finally awards and achievements that you can put into your resume. Before moving on to each of the section, first we are going to understand why investment banking resumes are different, so that you have a clarity that it's not any regular resume that you are sending out to a HR or applying with, but you have to be very specific. Now, why to take this into consideration? Because investment banking resume follow a strict standard. These are people with very attention to detail. They are looking for very aligned formatted resumes to make sure that once these candidates are recruited, they are very particular about the things that they are working upon. Point number 1 is 1 page only. Now, since you are going to apply for investment banking for the first time, you are considered as a fresher. Now, freshers don't need to have a 2-pager or 3-pager resume talking about all the experiences that they have done in the past. So covering all the sections and fitting into one is going to be very important. This will give an impression in the mind of interviewer that you are someone who can structure things into very precise manner and you have ability to speak what is important. So that's where 1 page comes into the picture. It should be very finance focused and result driven. Now both these 2 points are very important because interviewer wants to understand your background is somewhere connected to finance as an industry, and that is where they are going to give you a chance. And it should be result driven. Result driven is something where all the points that you have mentioned in your resume should have some impact that you have created in the work that you have been doing. So this we are going to cover more in the second part, where we are going to see how to structure your resume. Then recruiters decide in 6 to 8 points. Unlike other professionals, investment bankers are very attentive to detail. They are going to scan your resume in jiffy and make a decision if they want to move ahead with it or not. Here you have to be very particular about what you are putting into your resume. The initial sections of your resume should be very catchy, so that the recruiter who is going through your resume goes through further points that you have mentioned. Resume is not looking good in the initial part itself, then the recruiter is not going to take a look at the further sections as well. So that is where this point comes into the picture. Clarity, structure and quantification matter more than fancy design. So the template that we have showed you of this Word file is very simple, very easy to create. The most important thing is the structure, the alignment and quantification of things, which matters more than the design that you use. You don't need to have catchy photos or professional designs that make your resume look outstanding from the outside, but the words, the clarity that you showcase in your resume matters a lot than the external thing. So that is about overview of investment banking resumes as to why it differs from applying for any general kind of a role. Here you need to be very specific. Things should speak out very clearly. Now as we go through the section, you will understand these in more detail. Now we are going to cover the key sections that an investment banking resume should have. So in the first part, we are going to cover 4 key sections, that is education, work experience or internships, projects, which is very important for freshers, and finally achievements and scholarship. Now this is going to be the content for part 1. In the part 2, we are going to understand leadership and extracurricular, finally skills and interest. So we are going to break down this one by one one and see what are the things that we need to cover in every section, and also we'll take a look at the resume as to where you need to put those sections. Now alongside these two sections in part 2, we are also going to understand about the formatting and aligning rules, which are some things that you need to take care while you are building your own resume. Hey there, are you trying to build your career into investment banking but not sure if you are right fit for it? Then you can check our investment banking fit assessment, where you get questions across 5 different sections core to investment banking, and then you are going to get a score at the end which will help you understand your fit for the industry. If you want to go through it, then there's a link in the description which will give you access to it. It's free for all, so make sure that you try it once and assess your fit for the investment banking. Thanks for going through this side note. You can continue with the video. So let's get started with the section 1 of part 1, which is education, and understand what to include over here. So your education, which is going to be the first section of the entire resume, includes degree, the major subjects that you have taken, the college, the location where your college is. The second point is about GPA or CGPA. If your overall GPA is good, then you can mention these. And most of the time in investment banking, these things matter a lot because they are looking out for high achievers, and if your GPA is good, then it's an additional advantage point for you. Then if you are a part of any dean's list, or you have earned any merit, or you have earned any academic rewards, you can mention these in the education section itself. And finally, if you are part of any clubs, then you can just mention about the club name over here. Looking at the template that we have given you, the first section is about education. Now a lot of people do tend to have other professional certification apart from this college education in India, right? So if you are doing CA, if you are doing CFA, CMA, all of these are professional certification which you can definitely mention in the education section. Now that was the thing that I also did when I was doing my college, because I was not from a tier 1 college. That having these tags in my resume would be enough for me to prove that I am someone who is capable of entering into investment banking. That is where you need to prove some other accolades which you can tag alongside education section. So we are going to look this education section, which most of the people who are there in tier 1 or very good colleges can cover. So here your college name could come in, then location of your college, the course that you are doing. So it could be Bachelor of Finance, Economics, Financial Markets, whatever you are doing. It could be Masters as well if you are doing your MBA from a good college. Then you have to mention the completion time. So when you started and when you are expected to complete. If you are started in March 2023 and you are going to complete in May 2026, you can mention March 2023/May 2026. If you have not yet completed and applying for internship kind of role, then you can mention expected. If the month has not yet come of your completion, then you can mention expected over here. Then you have to mention your GPA. So as mentioned in the presentation itself, GPA will come in out of 10 or out of 4 if you are doing an MBA. Then part of the clubs, what clubs you are part of, dean's list. If you are part of it, then you can definitely mention over here. This will create a very good impression in the minds of interviewer if prove that you are a high achiever. If your GPA is around 9 out of 10, if you are part of finance club, economic club, if you are dean's list for some of the semesters, then this mentions that you are a high achiever and you will be a good fit for investment banking. Now if you are not from a tier 1 college similar to me and you have good scores in your class 10, class 12, and you want to showcase that you are someone who can prove yourself once you enter into the industry, and alongside that if you are doing any professional certification, then you can use this academic profile, or you can also mention education over here. So here you can create a table kind of a thing with 4 columns to it, and there you can mention about your education level, the institution where you studied, then your scores and GPAs, and the year that you completed these things. So at the time I was applying using this resume, I was doing CFA level 2 and I did not have my results out, so I mentioned attempted over here, and this was in 2023. Then I did my BCom majoring in accounting and finance from LS Raheja College, and there I had very good GPA. So I was I had 9.8 out of 10, and year was mentioned over here. Then also class 10 and class 12 were mentioned. Now this is the format that you can use if you are not someone from a very good college, like a tier 1 college where you have a lot of things proves yourself as a high achiever. That is the alternate that we saw in my resume. So that is about section number 1. Next we move on to section number 2, which is going to be work experience. Now in work experience, each bullet point must follow what you did, what tools you used, or skills that you applied practically when you were working upon these things, and what outcome was achieved. So taking an example, if you worked upon due diligence for a CA firm, right, doing financial due diligence, then instead of mentioning helped in due diligence, you can mention participated in 40 plus due diligence. Here you are quantifying what you did. So you did due diligence, but you are quantifying it. That is where you are mentioning that you did 40 plus due diligence, and then you are mentioning the skills that you use. So and client communication meetings, that is where interviewer will understand that you also did communication alongside participating in due diligence, which was on the technical side. Eventually improved execution execution speed by 15%. So that was the outcome which you have quantified, that the execution speed of the entire team increased 15% because of your participation into due diligence and client meetings. That is how your work experience should be. Let's look at the resume as to how it has to be quantified. Now in your resume, the work experience will come after education. If you don't have work experience or any internships, then don't worry, you can directly start with the third section, which is going to be projects and certification. And here and in the next section, we'll understand what you need to cover over there. So in the work experience, make sure that whatever work role you did in the finance industry should be always highlighted at the top. After the recruiter is going through your education, you will directly see the experience that you had in the finance industry. So you will mention the company over here, wherever you worked, and what was the location of it, then the work role that you did over there, and what was the timeline, like for how much period did you participate in it. And then the bullet points that you mentioned related to that particular work role will be in this entire format, which is what you did, what tools or skills you used, and what was the outcome that you achieved. So as we covered in the example where it was helped in due diligence, we converted it to participated in 40 plus due diligence and client communication meeting. Here the outcome is not mentioned, so you can mention that improving execution speed by 15%. So that was the outcome which was achieved. This will entirely cover the bullet point. And most important thing to keep in mind is whenever you are writing your resume, the bullet point should start and complete in one line itself. It should not take two lines, or else it look bit misaligned, because there will be a lot of empty space in the second line if only 2 or 3 words are going below it. So that is where you can take a help of AI tools and summarize some of the bullet points that are taking too long to explain. And you can use the points that we have mentioned, that we want the bullet to be summarized in what you did, what tools, skills you used, and the outcome. So AI tools like ChatGPT will definitely help you over here. And then after covering the experience that you have had in the field of finance, you can come to the work experience that you have had in other field where you were not more inclined towards work in finance field. Here also make sure whatever pointers you are using, they are covered in these bullet forms itself. You are keeping bullet points in numerical form so that the recruiter who is going through your resume gives attention to the points that you have mentioned. If the sentences are like very subtle and only text oriented, it does not take your attention towards it, right? So provided hardware, software, troubleshooting, problem support for students and faculty. So this does not take my attention over there. If I had mentioned that provided hardware and support for 300 plus students and faculty members of 6 departments, then it would have taken my attention over there, and recruiter would understand your quantifying abilities. So make sure you use the format that we mentioned. So that is about the section number 2 of work experience, where you need to quantify the things that you are mentioning in your resume, whatever role or responsibility that you performed. Now thing to understand is, if you don't have any work experience related to finance field, then don't put this second section directly after your education. If all the roles that you have done is outside the finance industry domain, then make sure that you put the projects and certification section above, where you are proving that you are someone who does not have work experience currently in the field of finance, but is working upon these projects and certificates to make yourself upskilled and ready for investment banking. If you have experience in finance, then do keep it on the second section, but if you don't, then take it to the third section. Considering that you have work experience in finance, we have kept it second, and the third section then comes in projects and certification. Now if you don't have any investment banking related internships or work experience, then the projects that you are going to build is going to prove your technical skill set, and which is going to be most important for investment banking. Because as an analyst or an associate, when you are entering into an investment bank, most of the time that you are going to spend will be upon Excel, PowerPoints, doing research, building models, working upon presentation, and that is where the recruiter wants to see that you are someone who is ready with those skill set. When you get hired, you can directly get started to work. Here the projects that you can include into your resume could be financial models, valuation work, industry research, deal summaries, presentation related work. There are a lot of projects that you can do which helps interviewer understand about the technical skills that you carry. Now this is very important because investment banks want proof that you can do the job on day one. Most of the candidates, people that are going through this video and people that we work with are wanting to enter into investment banking, but they are not from a tier 1 college or have a very good pedigree on their resume. When they want to enter into industry, the option that is available for them is to start with small investment banks. And here where you enter into these small investment banks, you are directly going to be put into a live deal, and there are not a lot of training sessions that you get in this small investment bank, because the team is very small. There is a lot of work to be done, and you have to always learn on the job to give the interviewer confidence that you are someone who is going to be the one who can do the job on day one. You have to work upon these projects and certification if you don't have any prior work experience. Now let's look at the resume. Now in the projects and certification section, you are going to cover the projects that you have done, which you can take physically to the interviewer. If the interviewer wants to discuss about those projects in detail, you have them physically, and the interviewer is going to look at those projects. You are going to have a round of discussion upon it, and make sure that in the bullet point here also you are going to quantify the results. Now bullet points can include creation of comprehensive financial model, then the valuation methods that you have used in the models that you have created, then different scenarios that you covered. Now in this bullet point also, it is very important to quantify. Now here we have not mentioned all of the quantifying points. When we teach the candidates that come to us for our detailed investment banking mentorship program, there we give them detailed summary of the projects that we are teaching them, as to how you should cover all of those projects into your resume, how to quantify those results. If you're someone who is interested in getting detailed mentorship for your investment banking journey, then you can apply to us using link in the description, and you get detailed training for building projects, building upon resume, getting interview preparation, and how to crack into investment banking. So coming back to the resume, here you have to mention the bullet points also in very quantifiable approach, and it should not be only just text oriented. In the header, you are going to mention what project work did you do, what was the timeline of that project, so when did you start, when did you complete it. Then you can also mention certificates over here. So both the things that are mentioned in this projects and certification are part of my own resume. So when I was starting out, I completed a valuation model. I also did a certification for Excel to train myself in learning how to create this financial model and use Excel in an efficient manner. So that is where I mentioned about the certification name, then when I did complete it, then what was something that I learned out of it. So all of those points should be mentioned, and make sure that it should also be quantified. So more the projects that you have, the more keywords that you keep for investment banking related, the higher the chances you have of getting the interview from those recruiters. In the bullet points that we have mentioned for valuation, here you can see that we have used valuation as keyword, DCF, relative valuation. Then we have used financial model into the bullet point, in just industry dynamics. Excel is used. Once again, financial model is used over here. When you use these kind of keywords, then it will be very, very catchy for recruiter to go through the entire resume. Having more than one project definitely adds more value, because then you can cover more keywords related to different areas like deals, M&A. You can cover industry landscaping, then startup, or these kind of keywords will definitely be an advantage. In the mentorship program that we mentioned, we train you for 5 different projects which cover all of those keywords. If you're interested, then you can definitely check it out via link in description. So that covers about section number 3, which is on projects and certification for investment banking resume. Hey there, since you are there into this video up till here, just wanted to let you know that if you're serious about building a career into investment banking, then you can check out our 2-hour free investment banking masterclass that covers a lot of things about investment banking, like lead to deal conversion, the ultimate hierarchy, what are the skills needed for investment banking. It's free for all. Just go to link in the description and you can find access to it. Final section of this part 1 will be achievements and scholarship, where you are highlighting your academic excellence, the analytical abilities that you have, and your consistency over time. Looking at an example over here, it could be that you rank top 5% in the finance batch, you won some case competition, you had high GPA while managing work and extracurriculars. So most important point that you need to understand is that investment bankers want high achievers. These are the people that can contribute and add value to investment banks a lot, and then only you are going to get a chance to interview and work over there. Now why bankers want high achievers is because when you enter into investment banking, you are going to rigor a lot. You will have to spend a lot of hours on working upon execution part. You will have to spend a lot of hours on the teamwork. It should be seen that you can learn a lot of things, because you are not going to given a standard template that follow this method and you can complete your financial model or you can complete your presentation. Every deal that you are going to work upon will bring in some things that you need to learn, and some things that you will have to first analyze yourself, and then you can put it into the deliverable. So that is where, if you are a fast learner, if you have showcased that you are a high achiever, then those abilities when combined create a very good investment banker. Going to scholarship awards and achievement section, here you can cover academic achievements, you can cover the college events that you participated in, the scholarship that you achieved, the awards that you've gotten. Now these are my personal examples, so I have covered academic achievements and the college events that I participated in. I did not get any scholarship, so I have not mentioned about those. If you have any, then you can definitely add it into the resume. So in academic achievements, I secured 4th rank in my college. I had SGPA of 9.8 across all the 6 semesters, so that is where you are proving that you can consistently perform good. Then I ranked 5th in my higher secondary education. These things prove that you are someone who is able to achieve going down the line as well. Then I mentioned about the college events, which showcases my ability to go outside the curriculum that I was doing. So here I achieved first place in financial planning competition. I achieved runner-up position in stock market trading, also in IPO pitching. Here I tried to use the keywords which are also investment banking specific. So I mentioned about IPO, I mentioned about stock market, then financial planning. Financial planning does not come under the investment banking domain, but definitely adding these things will showcase that you are somewhere exposed to financial market industry. So that way, based upon the things that you have done in your college or outside the college as well, if you have participated in any case competition, if you have participated in any finance related events, then you can definitely add these over here. So that covers all the 4 core sections that you need to add to your resume, which gives it a very strong foundation. And that way, when you add the later 2 section, it becomes a wholesome package, which is definitely going to give you interview from the recruiters that are going through your resume. If you fix these 4 sections of your resume properly, you will be ahead of 80% of investment banking applicants. In the second part, we are going to understand how to structure leadership, skills and interest section of your resume, and alongside these sections we are going to cover most important part, that is formatting and aligning rules of the resume. So that is it for this video. See you in the next one.